Imagine a state that forces you into physical paralysis, induces intense hallucinations, and leaves you looking entirely dead to the outside world. Every human on Earth must endure it every single day. We call it sleep. Entering this state for a full third of our lives halts all essential survival behaviors. You cannot forage for food, you cannot reproduce, and you are completely vulnerable to predators. From a strictly evolutionary perspective, rendering yourself unconscious in the wild is a massive, seemingly idiotic risk. For decades, science struggled to explain why nature kept this dangerous vulnerability intact. In fact, 50 years ago, the leading biological consensus was simply that we sleep to cure sleepiness, the scientific equivalent of saying we eat just to cure hunger. Modern neuroscience reveals a frantic, highly active period of biological maintenance. These historical EEG recordings show brain activity that matches or even exceeds our waking state, while the body lies still. To understand why evolution mandates such extreme risk, we have to look at the mechanics of a standard 90-minute sleep cycle. When your head hits the pillow, you take a plunge. Your core body temperature drops by 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit, and you descend into the deepest stages of non-REM sleep. Down here, the brain activates the glymphatic system. Cerebrospinal fluid rushes in, acting like a power wash. It pulses in rhythmic waves, clearing out metabolic detritus. This nightly flush targets beta-amyloid protein, which, if left to accumulate, forms the plaques that drive Alzheimer's disease. Because your brain undergoes such heavy physical maintenance, interrupting this specific phase has severe consequences. If an alarm jolts you awake from the depths of non-REM sleep, large areas of your prefrontal cortex are still physically powered down. You experience sleep inertia, a state of severe grogginess where your brain is struggling to drag itself from the basement straight up to the penthouse. Deep non-REM sleep acts as mandatory physical maintenance. Without it, the brain would slowly suffocate in its own toxic waste. After 70 to 80 minutes of deep cleaning, the brain begins an ascent. It rises up into rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, or some neural pathways become 30% more active than when you are completely awake. To keep you from physically acting out the intense activity happening in your mind, the brain sends a signal down your spinal cord, temporarily paralyzing all of your voluntary muscles. Occasionally, a timing glitch occurs, where your consciousness wakes up before the paralysis releases. You are awake, aware of your surroundings, but entirely unable to move or speak. This state, known as sleep paralysis, explains centuries of historical myths regarding alien abductions. Inside the mind during REM sleep, the prefrontal cortex, your brain's logical, reasoning center, shuts down entirely. Without the guards on duty, your emotional and memory centers are left to run completely unchecked. This chaotic state facilitates a biological process where distant, non-obvious memories are forced to collide. Forging these unusual connections provides the raw material for human creativity and problem-solving. But REM sleep also functions as a critical overnight therapy session. Dreaming acts as a soothing nocturnal balm, processing and dulling the sharp edges of extreme emotional trauma, allowing you to face the next day. While non-REM sleep fixes the hardware, REM sleep patches the software, the time when the brain recalibrates our emotional sanity. By the time you open your eyes in the morning, you do not wake up as the exact same person who went to sleep. Your physical brain structure has been washed, and your emotional web of associations has been rewired. This complex nightly architecture is governed by a strict circadian rhythm. It's a 24-hour biological clock that expects to be synchronized daily by the sun, not by human convenience. This graph illustrates the physiological cost of fighting that biology. The smooth sine wave represents our natural 24-hour rhythm, clashing aggressively against the staggered, erratic line of a night shift worker's sleep schedule. Disrupting this cycle is so deeply tied to disease that the World Health Organization classifies nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen. The mental health stakes are equally severe. To date, medical science has not discovered a single psychiatric condition in which a patient's sleep is normal. You cannot hack this system. You cannot out-exercise a sleep deficit, and you cannot clean-eat your way out of the damage caused by cutting your rest short. Sleep is the mandatory biological foundation that makes our waking lives possible.